How are you guys doing this evening? I hope you're doing well. So, today, I know my hair looks a mess. I'm tired. This week has been crazy at work, so I'm a little bit, tired. And I'm just recovering from being sick last week, so it's been a crazy couple of days, weeks. Anyways, today I wanted to focus on healing from past relationships, and that's been kind of a big subject for me to work with these last couple of weeks. And the reason is, I'm one of those types of people that swallow a lot of stuff, and having Crohn's disease doesn't isn't such doesn't make that such a good combination, because a lot of the energy starts to get really clogged in my solar plexus, because that's where I store a lot of my stress, in my stomach. And when I store a lot of stress in my stomach, I cause a lot of these flare-ups, to say the least. And when that happens, I get real sick, and then things go dark. So a lot of the things that I've been trying to work on in my own life is to kind of release all that pressure from my solar plexus. That way I can get sick a lot less frequently from stress, reasons. That's why I declutter a lot of the, stressful situations in my life and stressful people, because it's for my own health. And it does affect me physically, If it doesn't manifest, mentally, it manifests physically. So I try to do a lot of decluttering as much as possible. But one of the things that I've had trouble decluttering and kind of cleansing is past relationships. And the reason why that's been a really big issue for me is because a lot of the things that I dealt with with my past relationships, I tend to, swallow. I don't like a lot of the things that happened to me in past relationships. I just not, I keep it hidden, keep it to myself. And a lot of the pain, a lot of the stuff that I kind of went through, I just kind of just swallowed it, chose not to address it. But it found its way to manifest in other ways. And whether I knew it or not, it was affecting me a lot more than I thought it was. Almost pretty much hindering me from doing the things that I wanted to do, because, I never really fully addressed it. I never felt, dealt with it. So this year particularly, I've learned that, for some reason this year, I've been forced to deal with a lot of the things that I've swallowed and just kind of like kept, buried deep down to where I didn't want to deal with it. I've learned, or I've been forced, more or less forced, to deal with it. And it's been one of those things where I've come out a lot less fearful of the things that I have to deal with, but at the same time, it is what it is. But especially past relationships, like a lot of things that I've wanted to do, I haven't done because of a lot of the things that I dealt with. And I'm learning to deal with it now, so that way I'm able to do the things that I want to do. I don't have those feelings of doubt and negativity in the back of my head. Feelings of like, what if I'm gonna put myself in the same situation, get myself in be in a situation where I don't feel like I'm living my true authentic self. And I'm not happy, I'm suffocating, I'm whatever. And how I was able to overcome that, and we're gonna go ahead and start this session. I've just kind of been talking this whole time, but how I was able to overcome that is that instead of running from those feelings that I would have, I've learned to use them to my advantage. And for everybody, it's different. Everyone's going to have a different sort of, I'm not going to say Achilles heel, but everyone's going to have a soft spot. We need to learn how to use that soft spot to our advantage rather than have it be our detriment. And that's kind of what I've been doing, is learning to use my so-called weaknesses and turn them into strengths rather than weaknesses. So, like, for instance, let's say you have, feelings for someone. You have these thoughts for someone that don't, let's say the feelings aren't reciprocated. What I've learned to do is not feel like, you know what, all these feelings I have for this person, it's all for naught, because that's the one thing that would bother me, is that if I had feelings for someone and they weren't reciprocated, the thing that would bother me the most is that I would feel like, well, that's wasted time, wasted feelings, wasted emotions. And I don't like to waste anything, time, feelings, emotions, anything. So if I feel like I wasted something, it bothers me more. If I've wasted anything, it affects me more rather than, if I've didn't do it at all. So when I, have feelings for somebody, I tend to hold back, because I'm afraid that if I were to, express those feelings, the fact that they won't get reciprocated, or the possibility that they won't get, I couldn't think of the word, but the possibility that they wouldn't get reciprocated, to me, it would feel like I've wasted my time. I've wasted my energy. I've wasted my feelings. I've wasted myself. Or in relationships, when I don't, I've noticed this in a lot of my past relationships, I wouldn't get the love the way I wanted it. And that would, it wouldn't sit right with me. And that sounds kind of bad, but the way I wanted to be loved, I wasn't getting that. I was getting something totally different. Or, something, it wasn't something that I resonated with, in the words. And I would, take that as, I wasted my time, I wasted all that investment and energy to try to cultivate a relationship. And I didn't get the love I didn't get the love in the form that I wanted. Now, growing up, I've realized that when, that happens, you don't get the results that you want. You have to learn how to take those results or circumstances and use it to your advantage rather than keep it as a backdrop. And for instance, there was this girl that I was really crazy about. And, I allowed myself to feel that way and get to that point where I felt that way. And I was ashamed of it because I knew she had no, she didn't feel the same way at all. The amount of feelings that I had invested in, she didn't feel that way. She just didn't, she didn't have those feelings invested. And I saw that as me being weak. The fact that that someone was able to get me in such a vulnerable state that easily, and they weren't able to get to that point. So to me, it felt like a weakness. And like I said, I'm still dealing with that type of stuff today. But what I've learned is how to take those feelings and use it to your advantage. One of the things I did is that I told the universe, or spirit, or whatever you guys believe in, I told whatever higher power, I want to bring someone that gives me that feeling that I'm feeling about this person, but someone that's going to reciprocate those feelings. I want someone who's going to benefit me to my highest good. So it doesn't have to be that person, but I want someone who's going to make me feel the same way they made me feel when I looked at them, when I was with them, but at the same time, I want them to feel the way I feel. I don't want it to be one-sided. And then you realize, you'll start to see that the energy starts to move. You'll start to see that you're no longer, running away from your feelings, just because they weren't reciprocated. But you kind of modify that energy to kind of fit what you want. You still get that feeling, but you get more of the person that fits better with who you are, rather than get someone that you feel would be the perfect match for you, and then ultimately it doesn't turn out that way. So the reason why I'm talking a lot about this is that I know some of you may be kind of going through something similar to that, where when unrequited love happens, or when a breakup happens, we go straight to the, waste my time, waste my, my whole time, feeling about that person, giving a crap about that person. It's not a waste of time. That energy that you have, you can use it. As long as it's there, you can use it. You don't have to use it on that person, but you can direct that energy into something else, or to someone else. That energy alone is just energy. And when you can figure that out, like those feelings, all that love and that excitement you feel when you're with that person, or when you're around that person, if you can find a way to use that energy in a productive way, you can attract more of that into your life. So that way you're never without that feeling. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, that feeling isn't just a feeling, but it's more of a solid manifestation of what you truly want, rather than you just going based like, what, she made me feel this way, I want her, and then you find out she's not what you thought she was, and then you're just kind of like, what? You're using that feeling you're getting to bring in someone that's good for you. So that's what I've been working on. I know that's a lot of thinking, but it's how I figured it out. So I just talked for a whole minute. Now I'm just going to get straight to the session. Sorry. I snipped that one a bit too hard. Okay. I'm gonna do laundry this weekend. So this is gonna be mostly like a cleansing sort of session. So just relax. Clearing all those negative thoughts. Three, two, one. Almost there. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Almost there. And okay. I'm gonna do a little bit of a sigil for you right quick. Before I send you out to sleep. Okay. Okay. We're almost there. You should be about done. Okay. 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 All right. Hope you have a good night. I'll see you later.